By way of profession, I'm a human resources leader with years of experience in compliance and human resource policies and procedures oversight. I've spent my entire adult life, personal and professional, thinking about how processes could be smarter, better, and more optimized. As I think about the past month and all the actions that have taken place, communication, social media madness, community presence, etc., I continue to question how could this have been managed better. When I hear things, I typically start with trying to understand the policy and procedure around the action. While I am a public official and understand some board's operations, I must admit I had a blind spot relative to how our village board operates, and I had a few observations and many questions. Since the news broke about Chief Jones, from the last meeting and from my research of the village ordinances, what concerns me and likely other members of the community are, one, the separation of duties relative to personnel management. Without it, it makes it difficult for grievances to be handled to fidelity and without subjectivity, if the individual you have a concern with is the same person you report to. More than that, I would imagine it instills a degree of fear and anxiety, which could result in avoidance of issues which could be detrimental. Secondly, division and dysfunction among trustees. How do you build consensus despite differences in thought? I personally have been there, and it makes it for a very tenuous and hostile situation, in my opinion. How will you get things done? It is important that everyone has a voice and that they are heard. I have questions. They are around infrastructure and basic and universal HR practices that play a role in ensuring people feel heard and feel like they are treated equitably. Is the village manager SHRM certified? That is Society of Human Resource Management certified. What is the village's process for appointed positions, performance evaluations, and performance improvement? If a process exists, is it the same for non-appointed positions? Do you use a system for performance evaluations where employees provide a self-evaluation and managers provide input? For appointed positions, is there a performance improvement issue/concern specifically of new under 1 year employees? Are trustees kept abreast and progress during executive session? What process did you have for you and new leaders coming into our town that sets them up for success? What process do you have in place to notify and communicate to your entire board when appointed staff are having difficulties and there are specific challenges? Could this have perhaps helped with the concern of transparency? Do they not have the right to be informed? How does the village manage and monitor staff morale? Does the village have an exit interview process in place for involuntary terminations? If so, how is that information utilized and who reports on the feedback and takes action if appropriate? In the corporate sector, companies strive to implement best practices and often evaluate and reevaluate existing practices. Have you considered doing something similar with the village where there might be opportunities to be more equitable and inclusive? Do the trustees play a role in reviewing the village code? For example, Chapter 5, Article 1, Section 512, regarding appointments, and Article 6, Section 564, powers and duties. Should these be looked at more carefully to consider current times, equity, and more explicit language around the trustees' involvement? Has the village ever had a third-party assessment of operating practices and procedures? These are questions that come to my mind without having any clear understanding about how and why Chief Jones' specific situation occurred other than his and his attorney's version. I chose to look at things from a broader perspective and truly would like to understand how these things work. For the sake of our community, I do hope you step back and have a postmortem to truly assess how this could have been done better.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Would you mind to email that back to me? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next, I have